Oh, and what fun you're all going to have in the different points in your river on your way to the different things that you're wanting as you're rooting for each other and praising each other and knowing that each other will have success and not nitpicking over who should want what and not squabbling over resources because you understand that there are no shortages. It's so interesting to watch the religions of the world. It's enough that you fight over oil, but when you fight over God, that's just going too far. That's just going too far. When you say, God is only here where we are, and all of those other heathens out there, they don't have the path to God. And we say, oh, God is downstream for everyone. And you can individually hold yourself apart from that well-being or flow with it, but it's not dependent upon what church you're standing in or what book you're holding. It's dependent upon which way you're pointed in this stream. And that which you call God, and that which you call right, and that which you call life, and that which you call love, and that which you call health and well-being, it's all downstream. It's all in the stream that feels like ease and passion and joy.
That makes the most sense to me. I was raised in a religion, and when I listen to you, I'm like, oh my gosh, that feels like beats my heart and brings joy. And the more that I'm flowing downstream, I feel like a little kid. Well, and I want to play on the playgrounds. Like
the religions don't have it all wrong. In other words, think about it. So think about a religion that says, here you are living life, and you will one day die, all accurate, and when you die, you will become something more, all accurate. And then think about a religion that says, and when you do good deeds, you will allow yourself eternally to be that joyful, exalted being that you are. Nothing wrong with that statement. But when they say, but when you do this thing that you should not do, then you are damned, they've got you pointed upstream. And that's the reason that you feel that guilt. That's the reason you feel that discord. But then when they say, but if you'll stop doing those evil deeds that I and my committee have decided are evil because it is in our economic best interest to call it that way. If you will no longer do that bad deed, then you will again be on the path to heaven. And so you say, well, since I want to be good and I want to be surrounded by that which is good, and since I believe what they say, because there are a lot of them and they have plaques and things, robes and important looking things, I will then do the thing that they say is the good deed. And in doing so, you turn your boat in the stream and you do feel better. We are not saying that religion is wrong or bad. We're just saying that in the midst of religion, use your God-given resources to know what you're doing in your relationship with your God, you see. Because there is no one between you and that. It is right there for you to taste and touch. So when you love someone, you're in alignment. When you hate someone, you're not. That ought to be clear. When you appreciate yourself for someone, you close your gap. When you find fault with yourself for someone, you widen your gap. What happens in religion is a lot of people get together and justify the negative emotion they're feeling by claiming its rightness. And then the more they push against it, the worse they feel, and then the more numbers they try to gather in order to justify until things get really out of hand. Things are sort of out of alignment in that regard. And we say, you don't have to wait for one of them to figure this out, because you can begin the closing of your gap in this moment. And when you do, you'll have the enlightenment of source flowing through you. And then your response to everything will be from that broader, wiser, all-knowing view. And that's the only view that any of you will ever be satisfied with. But we want to give you something that we think you may not be remembering. You were source energy. You came into this physical body. This life in this body caused you to become more, and the source energy part of you became more. So it's you not staying up to speed with you. In other words, that's the leading edge eternal you that you're reaching for, you see. And if you do anything less than that, you're going to feel dissatisfied. And there are so many people in so many churches, so many different churches around the world, that life has caused them to become more, and by holding fast to the doctrines of their religions, they are holding themselves apart from that which their life has caused them to become. And in time, they'll croak, and then they'll reemerge into non-physical, and they'll all have a good laugh about all of the reasons that they used as their excuse to not allow themselves to go with that flow.
Thank you.
And when they get there, you're going to find people in your heavenly church that you never thought you'd see there. All colors of skin, all shades of everything. In other words, you are all source energy. And anytime any one of you looks at any other and says, me, not you, you're pointed upstream and you've widened your gap. In other words, you cannot exclude anyone from the well-being that is eternal without, in that moment, being the one who has excluded yourself. You have no control over any other. And that's why the churches are getting meaner and meaner and meaner and meaner and meaner, is because they are working harder and harder and harder at maintaining control. And it's a futile battle because the stream is so much more powerful. The dilution ratio is so wonderful. In other words, just when they get the old stogies all convinced that this is the way, it feels miserable, but it's the way to heaven, then they croak and new ones come in that say, no, it's this way. And then they have to teach them all over again. And then they just about get them all pointed this way. And then they croak. And then a whole new bunch comes in. And meanwhile, a whole bunch that were pointed this way, like you, are pointing this way. And so it's a battle that they cannot win. You might as well give in to your inevitable well-being.